Hello, everybody. Again, I'm here to talk to you a bit about the role of government in the economy. I usually talk about this at the same time I talk about public administration for one simple reason. Public administrators are those responsible for addressing the issues that are essential for government in our economy. Contrary to what some people will tell you, capitalism as we know it could not exist without government. Government is essential for a wide variety of reasons. Some of the reasons are just core service delivery, such as the post office, public safety of one kind or another, waste collection, sometimes even utility provision. These are kind of critical. In a way, even money is a kind of core essential function that is required for a government or an economy to work well. We also have, of course, infrastructure issues. Without roads, without bridges, schools, again, government could not function. Economy could not function. Capitalism would be basically not working at all. Government provides these things as essential. And one thing that people don't realize is it provides a legal system, which vastly decreases the need for enforcement of contracts and a whole variety of other kinds of activities. The legal system is essential for a successful economy and a modern economy. Government also prevents cheating. Capitalism is based upon people acting in self-interest. Unfortunately, sometimes self-interest transfers and becomes greed, and that greed becomes fraud. The classic cases over the last 20 years are things like Enron and WorldCom. But Joseph Stiglitz, one of my favorite economists, points out that it may be that fraudulent behavior by corporations, either in fudging their profits or dealing with things one way or another, is more the norm than the exception. One of our first governmental functions was fraud prevention, weights and measures. People would actually go out to a grocery store or a little marketplace and take their pound weights and see if it weighed a pound, or maybe only 15 ounces, to see whether or not they were cheating their customers. More recently, it's in a variety of things, such as promising retirement for people when you're not saving money for them. Government has stepped in and said, if you promise retirement, then you got to set aside money as you're going. But there are other critical ones. One is what we call externalities. In economics, and you hear this from economists all the time, we'll certainly hear this almost a political argument, that voluntary decisions are best. That's because the buyer and the seller related in a voluntary decision bear the costs and bear the benefits of the decision. They're the only ones that really know the real benefits and the real costs. Well, the trouble is almost all decisions affect other people. Our plastic bags are killing portions of the ocean. We have global warming. Behind me is a scene of pollution. But even things like when I lived in Stockton, North Stockton, I lived a mile from the freeway. And I could hear the roar of the freeway as an externality to the purchase of cars and purchase of petroleum. And then finally, another aspect in terms of core functions is what we call public goods. And public goods are things that can only be provided if everybody agrees to provide them. They're the kinds of goods that if somebody else provides them and you don't want to pay, once they're there, you get them, whether you want to pay or not. This includes things like military, national defense. It also includes immunizations. When other people get their children immunized, you're protected. Street lighting. It may predominantly benefit somebody who lives in a particular area, but anybody traveling through is now safer. And finally, government also has to deal with redistribution. Capitalism can be pretty brutal. If you don't have something to sell at a particular time of value, well, then you have no income. And if you have no income and there's no government to step in, then the reality is that you will not live very well. And many of us are in this situation either temporarily or long term, often not at our fault at all. So what government does is fill in for these things. And public administrators are responsible for doing it. Now, what this really also does is shift an enormous amount of responsibility to public administrators for doing this fairly. If they just follow the letter of the law, well, many of us feel like we're just numbers. Government will seem oppressive. If we respond predominantly to what public administrators see as need, then we feel like, well, as voters who put representatives in Congress and governor in office, don't have control anymore. So we often disagree on how it should be done. But most certainly, this places public administrators in a very unique situation where they have to be continuously concerned about accountability. And fortunately, most surveys suggest that Americans do see their public administrators as being accountable and as being fair. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.